So then hopefully this will do the same with the plum. Jesus. Jesus. That added a bit of pressure, wasn't it? So, is that fizzy? Yes! That's gone fizzy as well. Video on something I just want to have a quick play around with, although quick with me is a little bit of an oxymoron because my videos tend to be a little bit too long. So, Lidl have been giving away free fruit. What is wrong with me today? Free fruit. So like buy some food from Lidl, go on the app, press a button, and this wheel spins around and it gives you something free. So I've had quite a lot of free fruit. And I'm kind of like, so what am I going to do with what was left? So I made some candied melon skin. Kind of the idea of doing like a candied fruit. I did it with melon skin, and it worked out kind of quite well. And then I had another play around with it, and I made a like fake honey using the melon skin, because it's really kind of quite fragrant, is the melon skin, as much as the certainly from a honeydew melon honey. Now the clue is in the name. Like the honeydew melon, it's rather quite perfumey. So I made this fake honey, which was very kind of quite nice. I put some flower blossoms in it as well, and it was very nice. So I was kind of thinking, oh well, could we actually make a syrup from the melon skins? Would that work? And then I kind of thought, well, I've also been given a pineapple, and I'm going to eat the inside of the pineapple, but what we're going to do with the outside of the pineapple? And I kind of thought, well, okay, we'll make a syrup from the outside, from the pineapple. It's not really from the pineapple skin, even. And then I got some free plums as well. I'm not really a fan of plums. I eat a lot of vegetables, but I don't eat a lot of fruit. Don't know why. Although I am eating a lot of fruit this week because I've been given a lot of fruit from Lidl, fruit and vegetables. So I thought what we'll do is we'll see if we can get like a plum syrup from these plums as well. So got the skins, well, whole plums, just chop them up. We're gonna add some sugar to that, and then it's just pineapple skins chopped up. There were some. I'll show you. So there were some to have a melon, to have a pineapple completely ripe. It needs to be on the windowsill for a week. But the only problem with it being on the windowsill for a week out in the sunshine, certain parts of it go bad. So it's one of those things when some bits are lovely and ready. The only problem is by the time it's all edible, well, nice to eat, there's always going to be some bad bits. So the bad bits haven't gone in there, because we don't want the bad bits in. And then with the melon, the part of the seeds that's got the pulp around it, I put the pulp at the bottom there. So I've strained the pulp and added it to the bottom of there. Also, I was kind of thinking that we might actually get some natural fermentation from this as well, maybe. Because, so if we think back, the person who discovered penicillin, they found the penicillin, is it a fungus? Well, they found the penicillin, the growth, a strain of penicillin on a mouldy melon. So we know that there are natural yeasts and bacteria on melon skin. So, and I think there will be similar things growing on the outside of pineapples, and there'll also be similar things growing on the outside of plums. So we might get a little bit of fermentation as well. I'm not going to keep them in the fridge because of that. So, add sugar. The sugar might just kill them off the natural yeast on the outside. So, shake a bit. So there's plenty of sugar there, and then top up with more sugar. Like that, so it's covered on top. And then that will stop any kind of nasty kind of bacteria getting into there. Same with this one. Put some in, give it a shake around so it goes down to the bottom. The sugar will start to draw out the moisture from the fruit and the fruit skins and form a syrup. So that one there like that, and then this melon will be a little bit more tricky. So we might have to pour some more sugar in a little bit later on, but we can have a look at them later on. But you might need to see that, you might not. Depends if we can bother to film it. So we could just, I suppose we could probably mash it down as well. No, I don't want to mash it down. I just want to leave it to do something. So shake that a little bit, shaky, 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 and then it will compact down. It will draw out what moisture is in the skin. There is some moisture in the skin, but that'll do for now. So cover those with a lid, but not tight. So if you can imagine, there's a lid that I've just washed. So that's tight, so it's now airtight. We don't want that, we want it to be exposed to the air. So just loosely on, and then we'll leave those and we'll see what happens. Had 24 hours, and as you can see, liquid has come out. So far too soon to kind of think that there's any kind of fermentation kind of going on, but we do have some bubbles on the top of that. That can't be fermentation. That can't be fermentation already. That can't be fermentation. Let's have a taste and see if we've got some melon flavoured sweet liquid. That's nice. That's nice. Considering that's just the melon skins, that tastes rather melony. So that's nice so far. Melony. That's girls' name. So this is the pineapple. Sweet and pineapple-y. And these are the plums. So nice coloured liquid. That's not as sweet. So we have made, I don't think that's fermenting, I think that's just trapped air. So we have made some liquids that taste, sweet liquids that taste of the things that would necessarily, well, the melon skin and the pineapple skin were basically waste products. So we've made a syrup from essentially a waste product. So we could use that as a cordial or a flavouring in other things. On the basis of a homemade golden syrup. So we could strain it off those liquids, boil them up, add more sugar, and get like a heavy syrup, like a golden syrup. So that would be kind of quite nice. So that would be a cordial. So we could do a cordial or a heavy syrup, or anything you kind of wanted to put a syrup in. So that's kind of quite interesting from that point of view, that we can take something that would be necessarily a waste product and do something useful with it. And I'm always interested in things like that, rather than just putting things on the compost. We can actually get some flavour out of something. So the basic rule is, by the time we put something in the bin or on a compost, we want to have extracted all the flavour out of it, and all the monetary value out of it. So by doing that, we've extracted more value out of them. But anyway, so I want to see if they naturally start fermenting. So we'll just leave them until something happens, which might take 5 or 6 days, something like that, depending. I don't know if the sugar will have killed natural yeast on the outside, because sugar is a preservative. Natural yeast need sugar to live, but too much sugar is going to kill them. But anyway, so because sugar has a habit of drawing the moisture out of things, which is what happens there. You know, like the sugar has drawn out the liquid from the fruit and the fruit skins to form the syrups. But there we go. We'll leave it. We'll see what happens. Might start naturally fermenting. So this is interesting. We have some fermentation. Can we see? Yeah, there we go. So you can see bubbles are forming there. Not wanting to. There you go. You can see that bubble moving. There you go. So that's the melon skin. That's definitely fermenting. And then we seem to have some fermentation going on in the plums as well. Camera doesn't want to, well, my phone doesn't really want to pick that up. See if we can. Oh, well, there we go. So we've got a bubble forming there. So that's definitely fermentation happening there. Is anything happening in the pineapple? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. Now, what we can do is we can take some of the juice from the melon. So if that's a bit slow to start fermenting, and that's not fermenting at all, what we can do is we can take some of the juice from the fermenting melon and add it to each one of those, and then it will start to ferment, because we'll have transferred the yeast from the melons to the other fruits. Although I kind of think to myself, maybe the pineapple might be a little bit too acidic, or there might be a little bit too much sugar in there, which would kind of stop fermentation. But anyway, so that's fascinating. That's happened relatively quickly. That's happened quicker than, although we're in the middle of summer, so fermentation happens quicker in a warmer climate. So that might be a contributing factor, but it certainly happened quicker than when I've collected yeast in the past and just used some grapes that I bought from the market that are a little bit past the best. But anyway, so that's interesting. We're back. If these start, maybe it's got a little bubble there, maybe. We'll see. But we'll give it a few more days and we'll see what happens. So, we definitely have fermentation in the melon skins. Can we see it? See, there's a bubble going up there. It seems to have slowed down a little bit. We'll give it a taste. We'll move the camera and we'll give it a taste. There looks to be some definite fermentation going on in the plums. There, you can see all those bubbles. You can see that there. It's not actively busy, but it's certainly fermenting. So we'll have that move around and we'll give that a taste. Now, the pineapple skin does not look like it's fermenting. It might be fermenting a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's fermenting that much. So I am going to take some of the juice from the melon and we're going to add it to the pineapple and see if we can get that fermenting, because there will be yeast in that liquid there, and hopefully that will transfer to that liquid there and start it fermenting. So we'll pause the camera, move the camera, and we'll have a bit of a taste, because I can't hold the camera and taste. That'd be a bit awkward, won't it? So I don't actually know what I'm going to do with this experiment. I mean, so far that we've worked out that the skins. Oh no, maybe we are fermenting. Oh, lots of bubbles coming. It might just be fermenting really, really slowly. It tastes like pineapple. It tastes like pineapple, but it might just be bits of air that are trapped in the pineapple skins. I don't think it's fermenting. It doesn't look like it. Oh, no, I actually think that's fermenting. It's just fermenting really, really, really slowly. It hasn't gotten going yet. So there are bubbles. I can see, on closer inspection, I can see some bubbles rising. But just really slowly. And I don't think it's because I've disturbed it. We'll give that another couple of days. It tastes of pineapple. It tastes of pineapple. So we'll give that another go, another couple of days, and it might just start fermenting quicker, which is interesting with itself. I don't know actually what I'm going to do with this. I don't actually kind of want to make any fermented juice. I'm just kind of seeing if it works. There isn't. Normally I've got an idea of what I want to do or what I want to find out, but this is finding out if it ferments is what I want to find out. I'm not going to do anything further with it. That's definitely fermenting. You see all the bubbles. We just poke that down a little bit and poke it around. That looks like it's a nice colour, does that? There's lots of bubbles on top there, but that's because I've disturbed it. But also that will stop anything other bacteria forming on the top of the juice. It certainly smells fermented. That's pretty nice, is that? That's pretty nice. And then melon. So this is gloopy. So I'm not entirely sure if we shouldn't put some more water in that. Just to. It's overly sweet, is that? It's overly sweet. It's not particularly got a nice mouthfeel to it. I think we need to put some more water in that. Just a bit too thick. Just a bit too thick. That might actually be a little bit of decomposition. But it being less sweet might make it ferment a bit better. I don't know. I don't really know about fermenting. I mostly just faff around with things and then deduce things from what I find out. But that's certainly worked. That's certainly fermenting. If it doesn't like it's fermenting any better in 2 days, the pineapple, I'll take some of that juice and put it in there, and then we'll be able to kind of see. I don't think it was just because I disturbed it. Sometimes, like, air gets trapped within the pineapple's not a smooth surface, so air can get trapped in the cracks and crevices. So I kind of think sometimes when you stir things around, that's what you're disturbing. You're disturbing the air particles that have got, well, the air, not air particles, that have got trapped within things. And when you give it a stir around, it starts to release those, which gives the impression of fermentation. So I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure that is fermenting, but we'll give it a couple of days and we'll see what happens. Those two certainly are. That's sped up its fermentation. That seems to have slowed down. So I don't know, but then I'm always kind of thinking, is it fermentation or is it decomposition? Because we get gases released when things decompose. But anyway, an interesting experiment all the same. Right, so we are here with the fermented fruit peels. I have added a little bit of that liquid from the plums to the pineapple just to kind of speed up the process of fermentation, even though I think it was starting to ferment anyway. I've just added a bit just to start it fermenting, and it started fermenting. It's not fermenting tremendously like these two, but it is fermenting. And I've just this morning I've added some more liquid to it because it was quite a heavy syrup in that one, and I think it's probably more difficult for a heavy syrup to ferment than a lighter syrup. So just by adding some water will have lightened the syrup, and I can see bubbles rising. I don't know if the camera will pick that up. Probably not, but there are bubbles rising. So give that a taste. So it's a little bit syrupy, but not as syrupy as it was. It certainly tastes of pineapple. It tastes of pineapple that's slightly overripe. So this might be coming the end of the experiment. So these are the plums. Don't know if the camera will pick that up, but we'll see. If lots of bubbles want to rise, no, it's not really picking that up. But it certainly is fermenting because it's got all that on the top. What does it taste like? You can certainly start tasting the alcohol in that. Now, melon skins. I did add some liquid to this as well, but it's quite syrupy. Don't know if the camera will pick up, but there's certainly some bubbles coming to the top. Now, I don't think the consistency of this is going to be particularly very nice. It might be a bit gloopy, but we'll taste it and we'll see. Yeah, that's kind of gone a bit. It's not so nice to eat. It's not so nice to drink. So no, that's not so nice. It's all right, but it's gone kind of past that stage of being nice. When it started to ferment, it was kind of quite nice. So what we're going to do, we'll strain that off and we'll put it into a bottle and we'll let it carry on fermenting, and we'll see if it turns into vinegar. I think it will. I think it will. So we'll strain out the bits of that, we'll put it through a cloth, get it relatively free of sediment, and then we'll see if it carries on fermenting. So that's what we're going to do with that one. The stuff will just go on the compost. Solid bits will just go on the compost. What we're going to do with this, give it a taste again. It's bordering on too alcoholic to be like a fizzy pop type of thing. And we're going to put it in some bottles. We're going to call it a day and put it into some bottles and see if we can, with these two, see if we can turn it into like an old-fashioned fizzy drink. And by that, what we'll do is we'll just strain it off, collect the liquid, put it through a cloth, get rid of the sediment, and put it into a bottle like this with one of these tops. I've got a couple of these, and I think by putting liquid in there and letting it ferment slightly in the bottle and then putting it in the fridge, we'll then get a fizzy pop type thing. I think we'll do that, and I think we'll call it at the end of the experiment. I think that's what we'll do. Right, so strain things off, put them in bottles. That one can just go in a normal bottle with just a bit of fabric over the top of it, and these can go in bottles with these lids, and then the pressure will build up. It will create a natural carbonation, and then we can pour it over some ice, and we'll see what it's like, chill it down and see what it's like over a drink. I think, yes, that's what we'll do. So I have left these out for a day to ferment at room temperature, and then I put them in the fridge. They've been in the fridge for about a day, so it's about 2 days since I put them in bottles. Hopefully they will have fermented in the bottle and built up a bit of pressure and have become naturally carbonated. Well, not really carbonated, is it? Because carbonation is to add things to it, but fizzy. Naturally become fizzy. I can't remember. I think that's the plum, because there's not as much in it. I think this is the pineapple. So hopefully it will pop when we open it. There was a bit of, didn't pop, but there was a bit of fizz. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Look at that, we have made fizzy pineapple juice. That's surprisingly delicious. That's lovely and bubbly. That's kind of quite amazing, isn't it? Isn't that just amazing? So, took me ages to work out how to make fizzy pop like that. That you have to siphon it off into a bottle, let it ferment in the bottle, build up a bit of pressure, and then put it in the fridge. And then the fridge slows down the fermentation process. So we need another ice cube. Another ice cube for the plum juice, and it's still being fizzy. So it builds up pressure because it's naturally fermented, and it's in a bottle, so it can't it can't escape. So then hopefully this will do the same with the plum. Jesus, that added a bit of pressure, wasn't it? So, is that fizzy? Yes! That's gone fizzy as well. That was dangerous, wasn't it? Oh, that's gone. Has it gone in a pan? Don't think so. It's gone somewhere, but that works. Maybe that shouldn't have been... Although that was really fizzy to start off with, wasn't it? But it's still... All the bubbles are rising. How's it taste? Do you know what? Delicious is that. That's delicious. That's delicious. And this one is, the bubbles are still rising. It's a bit funky. It's a bit funky in flavour, but it's still nice. So So let's just get this vinegar over. Well, this melon skin. So this video will be longer than a TikTok video because everyone seems to be on TikTok and everyone wants things short. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep my little videos at the length that I kind of want them to be at, because you can't show faffing around in a 30-second video, can you? So that's the melon skin fermented that we've fermented in sugar, which is going to turn into a vinegar. That will appear in a other video, but we could have taken that juice and done exactly the same that we've done with those. So we could make a honeydew melon skin cordial. That's like syrup to put, like, that we could add fizzy water to, or chill it down how it was with still water and over ice. It would make a nice refreshing beverage. Or we can ferment it we can start to ferment it because there's natural yeast on the outside of the skins, and we can turn it into a naturally fermented fizzy drink, which is that. Take it further, we can turn it into alcohol. Take it further than that, and it turns into vinegar. So essentially we can take a waste product, which was the melon skin or the pineapple skin, and we can turn them into something, 4 different things, depending on what you kind of want to do. Normally you would just put leftover skins of melons or pineapple on the compost, or if you had animals, you'd feed it to the animals, like pigs. Pigs and goats would love those. Maybe it might be poisonous for them, I don't know. But you'd feed it to animals. Maybe, probably around rabbits. If you had rabbits would probably love eating melon skins. Maybe not pineapple skins. But we can essentially take a waste product and turn it into 4 different things of our choosing, whichever we kind of want to do, and through just the cost of some sugar. So that's, from my point of view, I think that's really interesting, and certainly from a food waste point of view, it's really kind of quite fascinating as well. But anyway, so there we go. I think that is a huge success, and now I'm going to try and find the top from that, which is, I think it's just blown off into space, probably on the cooker somewhere or on the top. But anyway, so I'm rather pleased with myself. This one, it'll carry on fermenting, and it'll turn into vinegar, and it'll turn up in an update video, because I've got a few vinegars that I'll kind of like do a summary on lots of different ones, so that will appear in that video. But apart from that, I think that's a huge success, and I'm very pleased with that result. A huge success.